So I have the scale set at 9 there, and of course I'm in my notch right where I said I usually go, quite regular, so I know that mark. Now if you look at this board when we measure it, you can see that tape measure, if the light will focus, that we have 9.5 inches, just a 1/16 under 9.5. So that means that ½ inch basically is going to get used up in saw cuts. We should work out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's one blade thick or one blade thin when we get to the end because we didn't measure it quite right, but it should work out. So it's just trying to explain the scale a little bit with this video. So I'm going to take you down here. Did you have a look around? Yeah, have a look from this angle and maybe you'll be able to see a little bit better. I don't know if you can. Hopefully you'll be able to see okay there. It says maybe it's going to be too dark. Hey girl, are you waiting for me? I'm busy. Yeah, you're not helping. take you on a little ride here. Go with me. Okay, we have a little sawdust on you. But so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there in the stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This has to be set when you're going to 1 inch. It has to be set very close to the bottom. Otherwise you'll cut it off. And always lay your crank on here. If you have your crank in there and you're on the bottom and it's sticking up, that little knob sticks up too high. So always remember to turn and put that little crank laying up there. You have to have it on there, kind of getting down to the bottom. If you leave a stack like this, gives you the weight you need to hold it so it's not going to push. So then you can kind of drop your crank, your stop here, your dog out of the way, just for safety. But if you're cutting it down and you only have, take your boards off and you only have like enough for 2 boards, you have to have it pinned or your board's going to want to start jumping when the blade's in it. So this way it keeps it all together. So yeah, blades. I push it and then it's the blade is cut. 3 or 4 fairly big ones. So when you're cutting all 1 inch, cutting these logs, you know, you're only going to get maybe 3 or 4 logs cut if you're doing 1 inch, and you have to change blades. So I squared this down. Got you in the sawdust. I cut that other one up there. Camera went flop, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I told you to guess. And we're cutting these ones here at 8 1/4. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I got a dozen, and then I got a 2 by 8 out of each one. Got one here and one out of the other one that I cut, so a couple 2 by 8 just because I saved. And that little pile of slabs there, that's all there is. That's all there is. I cut it. I skimmed it down. So, but I watch a lot of people cut. What I wanted to just show you when I get this noisy thing out of the way. Now, depending on what size of logs you cut, where your log sits on your bunk, whenever you're cutting and you start getting down to especially 4 inch, like I cut mine at 10'6", so they actually just come past each bunk a little bit. But I see people cutting where they're at the bunk at the starting end, but if you're cutting a 12-footer, it's ending up over here. And if you're cutting 1 inch or even 2x4s, you will get pull from here. Your blade is pulling, especially if it's a little bit dull, it'll start to pull upward. And your bottom board, or sometimes it'll push that log or the last little bit downward, and you'll wind up with one being 3/4 of an inch on the end instead of 1 inch. And the other board will be 1 1/4 inches or even 1 1/8 inches. It will just push. So starting off, you can start with it sticking over, you know, off the bunk here, and that's where you're starting. You don't have a lot of pressure on it, but where you're finishing off, you want your log kind of split the difference. You really don't want this end sticking more than 6 or 8 inches past the bunk. Just so I'm gonna just scatter this, see, knock some sawdust off. This is all 1 by 8 1/4. So at the cant, it just worked out that way to split them. And I'm not that particular for the job that it's being used for. It can be 8 inch, it can be 7 inch, it doesn't matter. So there you go. That was a couple pretty big logs. I got one more spruce there. I'm gonna make some 1 by 6 out of it, I think. Not sure, maybe I'll just split it into 2x4s, but I think it'll make 1 by 6. So, and then we have 4 birch trees on there to cut up in a few days. So it's a nice day. Mill was running good. I just wanted to show you a little of the last ones I'm cutting up. There's going to be garden and build and all kinds of stuff starting to happen at the homestead here. So if you guys just catching up with me, there's going to be a lot going on. I do a little bit of everything, and I go fishing once in a while too. And so some road trips, and but we've got some building to do. So you're going to see just more milling, maybe a little later in the summer, but more buildings are going to look a lot like that around the homestead here. So I hope you can kind of see this and understand this. That's just a little bit of my life, and hope you follow along. Like the videos, give it the old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. You know, if you do. Well, I hope you can see what I'm doing. Time for a blade change. I went through them finished them 2 big ones off, and then I got a nice 6x6 here. Good to wear gloves. Blades sharp. They're pretty pokey. Kind of set the blade in a little too far. I just set the blade so that the teeth are just outside of the pulley. And then on this side, we have the crank. And we do a half, 1 1/2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2. I do 4 turns. And then I like to just turn the blade the way that it's supposed to go. I'm in a tiny bit of my adjustment here, but there we go. calibrations. I know I'm not tight yet. 5.5. And we go to 6. 6 turns. Loosen it off, 6 turns. I put a new blade on. I tighten it up 6 turns. It's good. Check your guides. Make sure they're not wore too much. Keep just a little bit of play between them, not too much. And yeah, so that's as hard as it is to change. Up your latches, and we're all done. So look at that. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. That is 6 by 6 by, oh, looks like it's got cuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and they all look like they're the same thickness too. Look at that. You can't even tell I cut that tree. You see it's a little hairy. That's why I changed the blade. It starts to get dull. I hit a couple of knots and it actually made a tiny bit of a wave right in at the knot. If you go too fast, I've made a couple worse than that. But yeah, there's just where you hit a big knot when you start getting dull, you'll know it'll leave a little bit of a little wow. But this one's actually pretty good. But I wouldn't have been able to cut another one without going really slow and whatnot, so I got the spruce done here, and I just got the birch to do. So yeah, just come out and put in an hour and a half or 2 hours, and that's about all my back can do. So, you know, got that sawdust box works awesome there. Look at that. Nice row of sawdust. I can shovel that all up. It'll fill 2 big garbage cans. A little bit underneath the mill to clean up. But get these boards moved. See how this works? That does a good job. All the holes and in here and whatnot. That does a really good job. I had one of my viewers actually ask me if I had a leaf blower, and I didn't have one, but I just happened to stop at a thrift store the other day, and I was wandering around and I had one there, and they said it worked, so I thought I'd bring it and try it, and it was cheap, so, you know, good. I mean, I gotta scrape it out underneath regardless. The leaf blower is not gonna do that, but scrape it out and whatnot. So, you know who you are. Yes, there's one of you. It was 3 weeks ago or so that you mentioned it, and I have a leaf blower, and it actually works pretty good. I have to bring the generator out until I run another power cord out here, but for now, it works. Thanks again. Great tips. We all learn from other people.